because I just want to do one more segment here because I got to talk about the Pistons. Right now, Pistons are losing to the Nets 52-50. If they lose tonight, they will break the record. They will lose 27 straight games, which is the most any NBA team has done in a single season. And recently, one Thomas Gores, the owner of the Pistons, did an interview. Believe it or not, he actually spoke out. Amazingly, we got confirmation that Tom Gores is in fact a real human being. And in the interview, this was actually a relatively recent interview in terms of, like, it wasn't just something that was asked before and then they dropped it, just particularly at this time. And it is a bit of a coincidence that they drop it as a Christmas weekend is about to happen, so nobody notices. But I noticed. Tom. Anyways, so I'm going to read this aloud. And I want you to make sure that while you're listening to the words I am going to say to you, to keep your mouths closed so as to not just let a bug fly into your mouth, because you are just so shocked at the words you are going to hear that your mouth is going to be agape. Let me begin. The question the reporter asks, how does it feel when fans are chanting, quote, "sell the team"? This is in reference to, I believe it was Wednesday's game. I believe it was Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I think actually it might have been Thursday, where when the Pistons lost to the Jazz, fans were chanting, "sell the team," "fire Weaver," all that stuff. Here is Thomas Gores' answer, and I quote, "They can say what they want, but that's ridiculous. Other than winning, and we should win more games. We do a lot in the community. Players, the organization, we do a lot in the community. If you put aside winning, we've made a very big difference in the community. That means a lot to me. I understand that's only going to mean a lot to people if we win, but the underworking of what's happening and with our community over all these years is there. We're doing multi-billion-dollar things outside of basketball. I understand the fans being upset, but it's a ridiculous thought." Well, I'm glad you think so, Tom, because I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it's the only logical thing to say. You have put together, under your tenure, one of the single worst professional sports franchises in any sport, not just the NBA. I believe the only owners that are comparable would be David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers. And they play way less games. So the fact that your winning percentage is even in their sphere is already kind of upsetting. Secondly, talk about the absolute audacity of this man to say that it is, to say, other than winning, we're doing pretty good for ourselves. Do you know what the reason for owning a sports team is? It's for winning. You don't own the sports team because you want to open up a homeless shelter. You want to open up a homeless shelter? You can use your billions of dollars to go open up a homeless shelter. What you don't need to do is own the Detroit Pistons and turn it into a homeless shelter for bad basketball players. That's what you don't need to do. I mean, my gosh, is it how do you not? It's not simply that your team is mediocre, Tom. Your team is right now on the cusp of NBA history of losing 27 straight games. They've already broken the franchise record that, by the way, was set over 2 seasons. You managed to break that in 1. But on top of that, there's still more. And not from Thomas Gores, but from one Monty Williams. And I saw this today. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely flabbergasted by this. So from Keith Langelis, he tweets this out or X's this. I don't know. He posts it. Losing beats up everyone emotionally and mentally. But Monty Williams finds inspiration in the way the Pistons show up the next day to work. Quote, "The way they come back the next day is something I'm blown away by." Blown away by? Hey, Monty, it's their job. Of course they come to work. What are they just gonna stop coming to work? We're giving away participation trophies, and we wonder why we've lost 26 straight games. This is unbelievable. I couldn't believe. Why would you? I'm blown away by the fact that they managed to come to work. You know what? I wish my manager would have that sort of standard because then I wouldn't have to do anything. I could show up to work, put my legs up on the table on the desk, and just go to sleep for 8 hours. Because that's about. I'm blown away that they managed to come to work. Are you, Monty? I'm blown away that you still have a job. What's it take to get it fired around here? How many games in a row do you got to lose? My goodness. I between Mozzie Williams giving out participation trophies and Tom Gores saying winning doesn't matter because, oh, look, we opened up a basketball court for the poor. I am already emotionally exhausted from this team and in terms of actually being invested in wanting them to win. Because at this point, I just want them to lose. At this point, what I want is for Tom Gores and Troy Weaver and Monty Williams to be the three most embarrassed people in basketball. Because the fact that they get to just show up day in and day out and run this organization is ridiculous. And I've given Monty Williams some leeway. His system is designed around shooting the three, and we don't have any three-point shooters. But Monty, did you ever stop and think when you took the job that this roster doesn't have any shooters? Did you ever stop and think that, wait a minute, we've lost, I don't know, 26 straight. Maybe I should, I don't know, change my system. Clearly, shooting the three is not this team's strength. So you could do it 100 times. They're going to lose 100 times. I think I've yelled enough about this team, but they are still on the cusp of history. And at this point, I think as Pistons fans and as NBA fans, I think we should be absolutely just disgusted by this display, this gall from ownership, from the general manager, who has yet to say a word, by the way. Troy Weaver has yet to speak out. From the coach, who just, they show up to work. That's the standard. That's the standard in Detroit. And you know what that does? I know for a lot of NBA fans, they can just ignore the Pistons. It doesn't matter. I'm not a Pistons fan. I'm rooting for the Bucks. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I'm rooting for the Heat. I'm rooting for the Lakers. I don't have to care about what the Pistons are doing. It devalues the NBA if at any given night when you have to play the Pistons, you could basically run your G League squad like the Utah Jazz did and win the game. It completely devalues that this is a competitive league because it's not a competitive league. Clearly. I mean, even the Oakland A's last year in baseball, they never had a losing streak that was comparable to this. Because what we have done essentially is we have lost essentially a quarter of the season in a row. We are only a few, we are 10, we are 20 games away from having lost half of our season in a row. The irony is, there's a good chance we could not win another game until, hold on, let me pull it up. Detroit Pistons schedule. Let's see. Here we are. The next opponent that we could potentially win is at home against San Antonio on January the 10th. We're talking almost a month away at this point. And you know what's even worse is our next game this Thursday against the Boston Celtics on the road, by the way. That game, for now, is going to be on NBA TV, which means the entire nation, in theory, if you have NBA TV, will be able to watch that game. And even worse, January the 12th, we'll be playing on ESPN against the Rockets at home. Now that, if we are still losing games by that point, that is a game I think Pistons fans, I know there's been some sort of crude organization of boycotts and what have you. Friday, January the 12th, if you are willing, and I'm not going to do this, I'm just going to be full disclosure, I'm not going to go to this game. If you are willing, go to that game and, chant, sell the team, fire Weaver, whatever you do. Put it on national television. That'll be on ESPN. Everybody's got ESPN. They're not going to miss that game. Go to that game and put us on a national, because the commentators for ESPN are not going to ignore the sell the team chance. They're not going to be like the Valley Sports Detroit guys who basically are paid to ignore it. So my mission to Pistons fans, if you are so willing, or to anybody, you don't even have to be a Pistons fan. January the 12th, assuming nothing has changed at that point, at home against the Rockets on ESPN, that is the game that you need to go out and just show the world just how pissed Pistons fans are. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.